Hello, everyone. Surprise, surprise. Another Chiefs primetime game ends in controversy. Well, can easily explain it to y'all why people are upset, and it's another reason, or it's something referees need to take account of. Probably need to get interviewed after the game, I would say. But nonetheless, it was a fun game. You could say Sunday night. Jets looked good. Giants, on the other hand, looked sloppy in the best way possible on Monday night versus Seahawks. So, Jets seems back and forth, but easily the best New York football team over this weekend was the Bills. Bills, and giving we could say a rude awakening to the Dolphins, but we'll go overall on the podcast today. Thank y'all for joining me. If you're new to these videos, subscribe, notification bell, find out when all videos are posted, final videos and shorts, I may do another one for sports sometime this week. We'll see. But yeah, thank you guys all for showing support on that aspect. At the end of this video, you can give this video a like. But yeah, a fun-filled week as far as football this week. Baseball playoffs start this week for the MLB. We'll go over it all and give thoughts on the bracket and some of the games that took place today because it starts today. College football rankings, college football, go over a bunch as well. But yeah, first and foremost, let's start off with NFL Week 4 as well. And then, of course, at the end, we'll give predictions for NFL Week 5. So keep up for that. So, for starters, I think people saw this coming, just not how big of a blowout it would be. And I went over it briefly late last week. Lions and Packers. Lions blew out Packers 34-20. It was 27-3 halftime lead. Jared Goff. I do want to mention, Dan Campbell and that team, started off not great last year, but boy, have they found their rhythm so far this year. 3-1 after 4 games. Very good. Like I said, the jury's still out on, Jordan Love. I mean, had chances to score more points inside the red area, but could not get it done. Yes, we're without 2 offensive linemen, including Bakhtiari. I mean, Aaron Jones didn't do much in what he was given, but yeah. Well, Packers will have a chance to rebound in Las Vegas. Monday against the Raiders. We'll see. As far as London, the start of this 2-week trip for the Jaguars in London start off very good. 23-7 over the Falcons. It was 17-0 at one point after Desmond Ritter's pick six, and Jags really never looked back. I mean, the offense is still left to be desired with the Jags, but at least for them, they were managed to get back to 2-2. Falcons, starting off 2-0 after that comeback over the Packers, and now combined 13 points the last 2 weeks. And it was revealed that Desmond Ridder was going to start again this Sunday, and Taylor Heinicke was going to be backup. They do have talent still on the team. It's just they need a capable quarterback. And so far, it's very much up in the air. Well, it was up in the air to start, but not the way it ended, was the Bills. And what many looked at as probably the number one game this weekend turned out to be a wake-up for Miami Dolphins, who last week scored 70 on the Broncos, lost 48-20 in Buffalo. It started off hot, but the Dolphins cooled off, and Josh Allen, if I had to make my MVP pick based off the first 4 weeks, I'd say Josh Allen. Because look, they lost in overtime with 3 picks thrown by Josh Allen. And that is their only loss this season. So that's testament right there. But yeah, Josh Allen is playing like Josh Allen. Tua, had a bit of cooling off after 70 points last week, despite getting Jalen Waddle back. It was not great. Teron Armstead, he was kind of banged up. So, yeah. Vikings got on the win column as they got a much-needed win, as I mentioned, as they went into Carolina. It was not pretty, but they got it done. 21-13. Harrison Smith, it was great to see because, again, he's not had the best couple of seasons. He's still a top-notch safety or a top-of-the-half safety, but reality is, he hasn't played quite, or he's past his prime. He's not bad, but anyway, I've seen the backlash over him, and it was great to see that him making those two crucial sacks in the end to win it, prevent Bryce Young and the Panthers from possibly tying it in the end zone. So, good on him. And yeah, there's issues with the Panthers. It's like their touchdown first was pick six, and yeah, that's 7 points off the board as well for the Vikings. But comeback Kings this week went to the Broncos. Down 28-7. The Broncos, I said, obviously last week I said that Bears looked like the worst team in the league currently. They opened up and almost like they heard me and they were at home. But the thing that Matt Eberflus is going to be asked the most, it's like it was 20 tied after the Broncos tied it up with the fumble recovered for a touchdown. And they were in field goal range, but decided to go for it on 4th and 1 and didn't get it. Instead of kicking a field goal to go up 3, allowed the Broncos to move down the field, kick what was the game-winning field goal. Bears still had a chance, but Fields threw a pick, and there you go. So, not the worst team in the league no longer. I would probably say the Panthers, but yeah. And then Baltimore Ravens moving the first place of the AFC North with their dominant victory over Dorian Thompson-Robinson and the Browns. Now, what I'm going to do, what I should do is probably have a mulligan if, say, a starting QB goes out. But alas, I did not have that this week. I mean, it was very odd because you heard the news of Deshaun Watson having a shoulder issue, and that is questionable. And then I saw a report a few hours before the game that said he was expected to play. And then you see another report saying that he's not going to play. That it's Dorian Thompson-Robinson. So, I mean, it was obviously brutal for the kid. Do what the kid could do with the time he was given. I mean, yeah. But close to the Ravens, I mean, they are still looking pretty. As well as the Texans looking pretty for J.J. Watt, as it was announced he would go in their Ring of Honor. They talk about mixed feelings. J.J. goes into the Ring of Honor on the day that the Texans scored 30-6 against TJ and Derek. But I tell you, CJ Stroud is doing some really good things to start, and there's obviously still holes on that team, but last week versus Jags, this week versus the Steelers. I mean, very good, very good. 2 9-win teams from last year. Jeez. Puka Nacua. 2 words. Puka Nacua adds to his early offensive rookie year resume, as he had 7 catches for 163 yards, including the game-winning touchdown in overtime. Rams were up 23-0. Kudos to Anthony Richardson, and the Colts were coming all the way back to tie it, and it was sent to overtime, but too much for the Colts, as the Rams stormed down the field, bust coverage, and Puka Nacua dives in for the score. So, very good. Cooper Kupp slated to practice again this week. I mean, you got him. Talk about Nacua. You got Nacua. You got Tutu Atwell, who's a speedster. You got Van Jefferson, Tyler Higbee, who got an extension, and getting Cooper Kupp back should only help a very good looking team that should be in the playoff hunt, if not the NFC West. So, keep out. But yeah, kudos to Anthony Richardson. I mean, what he's doing so far, I mean, there's a reason why his comp was Cam Newton at the Combine. And he is showing the tendencies as to why he was given that comp. Baker and the Bucks strolled into the Superdome, beat the Saints handedly. I mean, great for Baker and the Bucks, after a not great performance, to say the least, against the Eagles on Monday night last week. Bounce back, and they win in New Orleans. They're 3-1 ahead in the division. So that's something for Baker and these Bucks. And credit to Sam Howell and the Eric Bieniemy dynamic. They lost, but took into overtime, tied it at the end of regulation. Eagles won 34-31. I mean, Washington gave them all they could handle and then some. But Eagles found a way and goes to them. But again, Eric Bieniemy, Sam Howell, their dynamic is proven good stuff for Washington so far. Titans blew out The Bengals at home. Talk about sweet revenge after the last few times the Bengals have rained on the Titans parade. Obviously, it doesn't really help or pay back from when they lost in the playoffs to the Bengals, but nonetheless, they won here. Derrick Henry looked like the king. Ryan Tannehill played a very good, clean game. You know, if you ask me point blank, I don't think Joe Burrow is 100% yet. I just don't. He still looks off. I mean, they managed to score 19 points against the Rams. And then round back here and score 3. I mean, T. Higgins going out did not help either. But I mean, Joe Burrow didn't even bother taking chances. I mean, I get it. Some of those were because of very good Titans defense. But, you know, it just didn't look well for Cincy. And, you know, great for Tannehill. It seems like the chemistry with DeAndre Hopkins starting to eat up a little bit more. You know, only 4 catches for 63 yards. But as you can tell with that long ball, that, yeah, Titans got something cooking. Jimmy G was unable to go, so Aiden O'Connell had to step up. Did an admirable job against the Chargers. Justin Herbert, Khalil Mack, they won 24-17. And yet, I mean, Aiden O'Connell had 2 fumbles early, and the 6 sacks and by Khalil Mack, and they still had a chance to tie up late. But on the rollout, you know, bad play. You know, this was not a good week for the out route. I think we're all, I mean, or pick plays, because, I mean, O'Connell threw that pick. I mean, geez. Daniel Jones threw that pick. I mean, you get the point. But yeah, Justin Herbert did fracture a finger on his non-throwing hand after getting it stuck in Crosby's face mask. But alas, at least it's non-throwing hand. Yeah, so it's not looking great for the Patriots. Cowboys blew out the Patriots 31-3. Mac Jones turned over the ball multiple times. Bailey Zappi went at the end of the third. Matt Judon went down. Christian Gonzalez got hurt. It was not great. Great for the 49ers as they blew out the Cardinals 35-16. Brock Purdy, again, efficient. McCaffrey had a great day. 4 touchdowns. I mean, what else can you say? Ayuk had almost 200 yards receiving, so very good for him. McCaffrey so far is in. I mean, I talked about Josh Allen, but Christian McCaffrey is the clear so far non QB MVP candidate. And then we get to Sunday Night Football. Chiefs held on to win 23-20, but if you didn't watch the game, you probably were thinking, well, did Mahomes get hurt or something? Nope. The fact is, Zach Wilson might have had his best game as a pro. There were times he looked confident and made some good throws. You know, it was sending nothing. And the Jets came back all the way back to tie up at 20-20. Now, the other thing obviously is, Jets missed a field goal. So there's that. But now, where the controversy is because of last close Chiefs game, controversy and not a surprise. The reality is, so on the last drive, it was 3rd and 23 and 3rd and 20. Or 3rd and 22. So on the 3rd and 22, first off, it was clear holding by the Chiefs. But instead they called a penalty on the Jets. So, in retrospect, if they had called that holding call as well, the fouls would have offset and you would replay the 3rd and 22. So there you go. But what really is the kicker for people? So, Patrick Mahomes threw another pick. And Slade, he had 2 picks on the night to CJ Mosley. Great for him. So, it seems like he threw a 3rd pick. And what happened? Ref called Sauce Gardner for holding. So, now what's the draw for people? Not that he threw the flag, it's when he threw the flag. And the fact is, no matter how you want to explain it, at the end of the day, the flag was thrown after the pick. And the holding was not called on the Chiefs. So at the end of the day, however you want to spin it, they didn't call it. Now, I get it. There's probably holding calls and stuff. Everything. But this is what drives people nuts about the refs. The inconsistencies. That's why people have followed the narrative that the NFL is scripted because the inconsistencies of refs and how it seems to favor one team. I mean, Now again, I will also say we also have to look at or say that even if they got the pick, they would have had to move across field to kick a field goal to tie it. So, which was no sure thing because Chiefs defense played very well. But yeah, at the end of the day, you know, things like this are why people would like refs to be interviewed after games, explain why you did that or why it happened that way. It is what it is. And then to cap off week 4, the Seahawks blew out the Giants 24-3. Great day for Devin Witherspoon, the number 1 high pick of Illinois. Great job by him. He had over 6 tackles. I mean, sucks that Jamal Adams went out very early. I mean, tore his quads last year, and then early into the game, he gets a knee in the head by Daniel Jones, and he's in concussion protocol, and he's ruled out for the rest of the game. It's unfortunate for one of the best players in the league. Now, despite on the score being a blowout, the Giants defense played about as well as you could get with all the injuries and such. The first touchdown by the Seahawks, Daniel Jones fumbled and was recovered inside the 10. So just like that, when they were ahead 3-0, it's or nonetheless, Seahawks draw blood with a touchdown, early to Metcalf. Then, so Geno Smith had to go out for a brief stint, and Drew Lock had to come in, and he threw a pass to Noah Fant, who broke away and scored almost a touchdown, but nonetheless was rushed in. But anyways, it's like, okay, it's only 14-3, and then Giants get something cooking. They have a really good drive. They're on the doorstep. But, as I mentioned earlier, Daniel Jones threw a pick 6 to who else but Devin Witherspoon. Great job by him. I mean, it's like a field goal, would have made it 1 possession. A touchdown would have made it 14-10 with an extra point. So, you had 2 touchdowns that were basically given for the Seahawks. But they all tight, did what they needed to. And they are very much alive in the division after 1 month. Their success of last year is very much looking successful as this year. Sorry, so yeah. So if we look at it, my record this year, or this week. So let's see, I have 1, 2, sucked because I initially chose the Bills, but in the end, you need some upsets, and you know, nonetheless, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So another double. I mean, at this point, it's like cool to have a double digit week season again, but at the same time, it's like again, it's not easy picking games, but you know, I've had weeks where I've scored, 13-3, 14-2. I mean, it's just like when you know you can get there and you don't, that's tough. So, hey, not a double digit week season. I mean, if I knew DTR was going to be playing, I would have scored it for the Ravens, and then if I stuck with the Bills, I would have been 12, which, I mean, yeah, but anyway, 10 wins. Now, as we talk about college football games this past weekend, wasn't as hyped as, say, last week's was, but we did get some upsets. We did get some surprises. Want to talk because it's dimmed down a bit since they lost to Oregon, but Colorado, they were down 48-27 at the end of the third against USC, and managed to get Caleb Williams' first pick, and then they trot down for 2 touchdowns late, or won the first quarter. Clock management wasn't great, but they managed to get within 1 score, so kudos to them. Louisville, they got a win this weekend to enter the top 25. Congrats to them. Kentucky beat Florida to knock the Gators out of the top 25 and slide in. So now they're number 20 going up against Georgia. That's, Auburn versus Georgia. That was fun. 27-20. Auburn gave them what they could, but wasn't enough to drop the Bulldogs anywhere. So Utah got outwit by the Beavers. It's clear to say that Utah misses Cam Rising. It's obviously a question of when he'll be back because, he had that off-season surgery, so we'll see. As far as the rankings, though, not much movement. I mean, no surprise, Oregon jumped USC for their big win, and USC, fizzled a bit versus, against Colorado. Notre Dame moves back in the top 10 of their last-minute victory over Duke. So, kudos to them. Oklahoma moved up. Ole Miss won in the game of the weekend versus LSU. They moved up 4 spots. I mean, things moving. Not too much, but yeah, some good stuff. So, as far as this weekend, we got good slew of games lined up. So, it'll be a nice game between Ohio State, number 4. They returned off their week off versus Maryland, and Tua's brother in Maryland. Can LSU stop the bleeding and stop their downfall as they face Missouri in a ranked matchup, 23 versus 21? And then it sucks that this game's on at 9 in the morning. But Oklahoma versus Texas, number 12 versus number 3. That's going to be very interesting. We know how Texas and Oklahoma, the last few weeks in particular, Dillon Gabriel, they've done well. I mentioned number 1 Georgia face off against number 20 now Kentucky. See how Kentucky lines up. Louisville, now after moving in top 25, they face Notre Dame, top 10. So, but yeah, some nice ranked versus ranked matchups ahead this week. We'll see. So now let's get into baseball. It's been a while, but it's a long season, and the last playoffs are here. And they started today. So, as the brackets stand right now, so in the American Conference, as it stands, so Baltimore won the American Conference, got the 1 seed by the skin of their teeth. Houston, the Astros, won number 2 seed and took it from the Rangers to get the other bye. Seattle, they are on the outside looking in. But as far as wild cards in the American Conference, you got number 3, Minnesota, hosting number 6, Toronto. And then you have number 4, Tampa Bay, hosting number 5, Texas. Now, Texas and Minnesota won earlier. So, they're already on the on up. Now, as far as the National League, it's very different. So, 1 seed was the Braves, no surprise. Number 2 was the Dodgers. So, they got the byes. And as far as the wild card, number 3, Milwaukee, the Brewers, hosting the Diamondbacks. And then the Phillies, hosting the Marlins. 3 teams from the division make the playoffs, except the Mets. Bless me. But yeah. Nonetheless, Phillies and Diamondbacks won early. So, really quick, let's make some predictions, shall we, for the brackets? Because it's always a nice little wrinkle being able to pick the bracket. So, this is an interesting series already between Texas and Tampa Bay. You know, all good. Both those are. And Texas won earlier. This is tough. But if I have to guess, I'm going Texas to win here. Them to face Baltimore in the semis of the American League. Minnesota versus Toronto. Earlier, they broke their streak of first playoff win in nearly 20 years. Something. But, yeah, there's something about the Twins team that I think they're going to be able to move past Toronto, get to semis versus the Astros. Baltimore versus. So as far as the second round, the way it looks, it's looking like Baltimore versus Texas and Minnesota versus Houston. Those are some good line matchups as far as the next round. So now let's go on the other side of the bracket, National League. Arizona won earlier against Milwaukee. Quite interesting. Arizona, both those teams are good. I'm going with Milwaukee. Though I think they'll find a way. And Philly. Oh man. Philly won earlier. And I tell you, that's assuming Philly moves past Miami. That's a series good enough to be the World Series. Atlanta and Philly. But alas, one has to get to the NLCS. One can't. But got our predictions lined out for wild card and matchups looking forward to for the ALDS, per se. Now, well, first, before I get into my Week 5 predictions, gotta talk about the NHL and hockey's back. Hockey is back. Great thing for those on the ice. You know, we know last year with the Golden Knights, or this year, Golden Knights got it done over the very good story, the Florida Panthers. Vegas is going to be key again for this season. We'll see. But looking good. I know some of had a reference for my other side of the channel, but 3 Seattle natives went to Seattle Kraken game. I saw it the other day. We're in the midst of preseason for the NBA, so a few more weeks. But don't worry, folks. We will hear inside the NBA on TNT, which will be funny again, so don't worry. Now let's get into week 5 predictions for the NFL season. First week of buys. So, margin for error as far as winning week is more slim. But yeah, 4 teams on the bye. So still 14 games, but yeah, that's always the kicker. Well, last we got a rematch of Thursday Night Football last year between the Commanders and the Bears. Now, when you look at the philosophy of both teams of last year, gearing towards last year's game compared to both teams now, it's a bit of a 180. I mean, last year, the Commanders looked lost when Carson Wentz was starting. Then Taylor Heinicke came in, and they were playing really well. Not enough to get to playoffs, but nonetheless. The Bears had some struggles, but they were and still a young team. Looking for promise. Already this year, it looks like they're spiraling. Well, for the Commanders, despite a loss against the Eagles, gave them everything they could handle and more. I mean, they had the game won. Bears on Sunday versus the Broncos, 28-7, and they let it slip away. I'm liking the Commanders' offense and their new philosophy with Eric Bieniemy. It's done really well. Yeah, I'm gonna go with the Commanders here. They're 5.5 point favorites, so the line has been a bit slimmer, but it's started from 7 to 5.5. But I'm gonna go with the Commanders here. 24 to 18. So Commanders barely cover. Sunday, Jags' second straight game in London. Here against the Bills. Bills 5.5 point favorites. So, it's unique. So, this past Sunday versus the Falcons, it wasn't pretty, but they got it done. After 2-game losing streak, they got it done. Josh Allen has been playing as good as anyone has played the last 3 weeks. And we know how Trevor Lawrence, to be honest, the offense has been a bit underwhelming to start the season. I mean, I said numerous times. I said while I was in a hospital bed, basically saying, well, Trevor Lawrence, I could see playing as an MVP candidate this year. So far, he hasn't played like one. Now, so only 1 month is of the season, but nonetheless, hmm, this will be a fun game. However, I think that the Bills pull away. I'm gonna say Jags 20, Bills 28. Texans at Falcons. Falcons 2-point favorites at home. This is weird because, well, the Texans have been playing well. They played well against the Jags in Jacksonville, and then they kicked the Steelers' butt at home. They got momentum on their side. Whereas who knows with this division? The Falcons, uh, I mean, thir- I mentioned 13 points combined the last two games. And the fact that he just came back from London. I mean, is there going to be like a down period? You know, jet lag kind of period? Um, because again, I like the talent that the Falcons have. It's just I'm not quite sure about the quarterback. So I'm gonna go Texans here on the road. 23. 23-17. Lions hosting the Panthers, the largest line of the week. 9.5, or actually the second largest. 9.5 point favorites are the Lions. The Panthers could have won that game for the Vikings. They could have. That's the funny thing. They could have, based on the mistakes of the Vikings. But alas, they didn't. And you know, if you take away that touchdown, offensively they only scored 6 points. Um, I mean, there's a reason why there's reports of the Panthers wanted to trade for a number one receiver. I mean, I love Thielen, but he was in his prime with the Vikings, and you know, he's so good, but he's not a number one. He, I would say, at best is number two right now. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Lions here 24-10. Lions 4-1. This game is basically a pick 'em. Titans going on the road after mauling the Bengals. Going to Indy. Indy, their second straight home game. They came back to tie up versus the Rams, only to lose in overtime. Anthony Richardson playing very well. You know, see, I think the Colts are digging their philosophy now. They are a ground and pound type team that plays very good defense. We saw that first the Ravens, they have a stout defense and they're good. They can cause havoc, they can cause turnovers. You know, with the offense, it's not glamorous. There's not very good receivers. I mean, I like Michael Pittman, but there's not like talent across that wide receiver room per se. It's ground and pound, whether it's Anthony Richardson making plays, Zach Moss, he's running the ball pretty well, and Jonathan Taylor's absence. With the, however, there aren't an electric offense. And that was kind of why I picked the Bengals over Titans. With the Titans, the only time I picked them to win this season is the Chargers game, which they won in overtime. Other than that, when I pick them to win, they lose. When when I picked them to lose against the Bengals, they won. So I mean, it's difficult. It's tough, but reason why it's pick up, but I'm gonna pick the team that I think has the better overall offense, and this rivalry, the AFC South rivalry. Titans, I think, swept them last year, if I'm not mistaken. I had to check, but Titans have done well against Colts, and I'm going with Tennessee. And good one. 26-22. Giants, oh boy. Giants going to Miami. This is the highest line of the week. Dolphins 11-point favorites. Giants need Saquon back. And not only they need Saquon back, but you know, they need Andrew Thomas back. You know, status of Andrew Thomas is crucial. John Michael Schmitz. I mean, it's quite tough. So, I mean, if they had those guys, I'd give them a chance, but right now I just can't. I mean, if the worst thing for the Giants for this matchup is that the Dolphins lost to the Bills. They got blown out by the Bills. So I think here the Dolphins bounce back for Giants. They get back on track 27 to 14. 27-14. This could also be kind of a pick'em game, but Saints at Patriots. Patriots 1.5 point favorites at home. For the Patriots, it couldn't have gotten any worse in Dallas than it did. You know, Judon hurt, Gonzalez hurt. I mean, Mac Jones benched at the end of the third. Now, Belichick said he went not benching Mac Jones. With the Saints, they got issues on their end for offense as well. I mean, Derek Carr, I mean, didn't look great. As far as injury, come back from injury, spraining his AC joint. I mean, I'm going to just say, Patriots got embarrassed. And, they're at home. I'm going Patriots 20 to 14. Yeah, this is a tough game. Ravens at Steelers. Ravens 3.5 point favorites on the road. Kenny Pickett suffered a bone bruise in his knee. Said he's basically day to day. They said that he'll practice tomorrow and they'll see from there. If not, Mitchell Trubisky will play. The Steelers' offense has not looked. It's looked rugged. I mean, their style is basically. It was summed up in the Browns game. You know, play stout defense. Maybe get a turnover or two. I mean, do enough to not lose the game on offense. Do well. And we know how physical these rivalry games can be between the Steelers and the Ravens, so this will be fun. It's just the Ravens are operating on another cylinder. So I'm gonna say they win here 21-17. Bengals at Cardinals. Bengals 3 point. How much more disrespect can the Cardinals get? I mean, look, I'm a Joe Burrow fan. I'm a Bengals fan, but the fact is, they've not played well. They've not played well this season. The Cardinals have played inspiring, good football. They've not won, obviously, as much, but they played better on offense than advertised. I can't pick the Bengals not knowing Joe Burrow is 100%. I mean, I'd say this a gritty win 2017. This could be now 49ers Cowboys is going to get majority of the love, but Rams Eagles could be game of the week. Eagles 4.5 point favorites on the road versus the Rams. This is going to be good. This is going to be good. Feels like the first real test of the Eagles. Although, you know, Commanders and, well, Commanders did give them everything they could handle. But I'm saying, as far as first glance, this looks like a real, first test for the Eagles. You know, so now Cooper Kupp is slated to practice again this week. That's a given. The question is obviously, will he play? That's the thing. And I mean, that's dangerous. That's dangerous as if he is playing, because if he's not, then I'm sure they'd be like, okay, Darius Slay is on Nakua, and everyone else, okay, do their thing. But alas, their secondary has been not great this season. You know, and we saw them get out muscled in the ground game for a good while by the Commanders. And Kyler Williams done well on the ground. Now, we know the home field advantage for Rams isn't really a home field advantage. So there's going to be a lot of Eagles fans there. I'm going with the Rams here, and a very good one, 27-24. Think, this is going to be fun. Going to be fun. Got the Broncos 2-point favorites despite Zach Wilson's very good performance. Broncos 2-point favorites at home against the Jets. Now, mentioned Zach Wilson played as good as he could have on Sunday night. Circumstances. Question is obviously, was that just one game or will that carry on to the next? Broncos woke up down 28-7. That's the key. They woke up down 28-7. Now, the thing is, we know how good. Here's the thing, we know how good the Jets defense is. We know how bad the Broncos defense though has been this year. I mean, it was 28-7 before, but then the offense woke up. I'm picking the Jets here, 24. 24-17 of the Broncos. It's, I don't know. Chiefs at Vikings. Chiefs 5-point favorites. I think people are gauging and people are realizing that Chiefs offense hasn't been great this season. It's been good, but it's not been as it has been in recent years. So they go to Minnesota. Here's the thing. Vikings defense hasn't been good, but the reality is they've turned over the ball a ton. So I mean, if they can just, stop turning the dang ball over, which seems like a lot to ask for the Vikings, but if they can just not turn the ball over, they got a shot for the Chiefs. I mean, 5 points, only 5 points. Do I trust the Vikings? No. So therefore, I'm gonna go 21-17. Vikings to cover, but Chiefs won. Cowboys at 49ers. There we go. 4-point favorites are the Niners at home against the Cowboys. Rematch of last year's divisional round playoffs. I mean, the Cowboys' offense wasn't that good. I mean, it was stout, but it wasn't great for the Patriots. I mean, you look at the score, you're like, whoa, but it was a great offense. First, Niners are arguably the best team. And, defense, the Cardinals gave them a fight for a while. So, it's obviously going to be tough. And expect this another low scoring type of game. So, yeah, I'm going with the Niners 24, 21. Cowboys. Cowboys cover, but 49ers win. And then to finish off week 5 in Las Vegas, Packers at Raiders. Packers 2-point favorites on the road. This is tough. Now, Packers do have that little extra rest because of Thursday night last week. So, I mean, we'll see. Bakhtiari and the O-line, I mean, I was a bit impressed despite, fumbles and the late pick by O'Connell. We'll see about Jimmy, but as long as those receivers are healthy and, Josh Jacobs and in Las Vegas, I'm going with the Raiders. You know, I'm sure Josh McDaniels hears it. I'm sure Mark Davis hears noise. I think they'll do enough to at least bypass some of the noise for at least 1 week. Yeah, win over the Raiders 24. Or no, wait. 27. I'm drawing one time. 21. 16. Las Vegas. Yep. We'll see. But some interesting games lined up for this week. But anyways, guys, hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, subscribe. Click the like button if you're new. Help out the video. Help out the channel. Thank you guys all for another good week. And be back next time for Sports OV topics. Excuse me. I may do. Yeah, I'll have a couple shorts lined up sports related this week, so keep in mind. But playoffs, sports, keep it up. But love you guys. Peace. See y'all next time.